Hello, beautiful. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Christian. Let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. Hello, sacral beauties. Welcome to the She Sacral podcast, the space for women to recover from burnout through the power of sacred pleasure. So today we're going to dive in and talk about the worthiness code and focusing on receiving without earning and why pleasure is not a prize. So I'm really excited because worthiness is a big one. I think it has been my long lesson in life in so many areas when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business, when it comes to work, when it comes to friendship, when it comes to everything and how I operate in life. Worthiness has always been a consistent lesson for me. So I'm really excited to deep dive and talk about this with you. And so this episode is going to help you untangle the idea that you have to do more, that you have to prove more, that you have to be more in order to receive love, pleasure, or even rest. And so let's talk about the energetics of unworthiness, okay? So worthiness is not a mindset. It is a frequency, just like many of the other things we've talked about in the other sacral codes. Worthiness is a state that you're in, right? Are you in a worthiness state? And so when I say frequency, what I really mean is that is an emotional state that you're in. Emotion is movement. It is motion. It is energy. And frequency is the amount of that energy. So worthiness is that emotional state that you're in. And so when unworthiness is stored in the sacral, it creates emotional restriction. The body says, I'm not allowed to feel good until I fill in the blank, until I lose 50 pounds, until I make $1 million, until I have 100,000 followers, right? And so you can begin to freeze your body and put yourself in this space of feeling unsafe in your nervous system without even realizing it, just by carrying the state of unworthiness. It could be so tricky. It could be a belief that you're having that's running all of your decisions and your actions, but you don't really realize it and you would not dare speak it out loud. One, to have to even admit that you are not in a space or place of where you want to be in your life almost starts to ignite this feeling of shame, doesn't it? Like if you're saying to yourself, well, I'm not allowed to feel good until I lose 50 pounds. That means that you've gained 50 pounds or you're carrying 50 pounds that you want to lose, or you're not satisfied or happy with how your body is looking. And so you're holding your body in this space to say, well, body, mind, when we reach this, then you can feel good. Even though you've got to go through all this time, these days, these moments, these nights, before you can feel good again. And so pleasure starts to become a transaction. If I'm productive enough, then I can rest. If I do more, then I can relax. And I'm so guilty of this. This is kind of how I was running my business in the past. Even just having this belief of, okay, you can eat when you get all of these things done. That's awful. That's awful. But we kind of trick ourselves into thinking that we're pushing ourselves or motivating ourselves to succeed in this way, when those two things really have nothing to do with each other. But we've kind of conditioned ourselves to create this feeling of a reward system after we do certain things. Now, yes, of course, we have our dopamine that kicks in and motivates us to take certain actions, right? And so that's there, and I get it. Like we have our goals and we have things that we want to do, and I get all of that. But at the same time, if you feel like you're holding yourself in this space and you're putting a lot of weight onto it, this could be coming from that unworthiness frequency. And it starts to block self-trust, joy, sensuality, and emotional fluidity. And so when your sacral energy believes you're not worthy, then it stops asking for what you need and starts settling for what you're given. So notice when you're holding yourself in this space, you oftentimes restrict your needs in order for you to get to the space that you want to be in, right? When you're carrying this energy of, I will receive pleasure when I do X, Y, Z. What if we changed it? When I feel pleasure, then I will do X, Y, Z. When I feel good, then I will get this thing done. When I feel safe, then I will focus on what I set my mind to do. Doesn't that feel a lot better? When I feel nourished, or when I nourish my body, that's when I'll start my day. You see how it just a slight change? So which sounds better to you? When I finish all of my work, then I'll nourish my body, or when I nourish my body, I'll finish all of my work. Think about it. All right, so now let's talk about how the programming begins. How does the unworthiness frequency even start? Oftentimes in our childhood, when we're rewarded for achievement instead of emotional presence. Oftentimes we're rewarded for the chores that we've done, or the good grades, or winning in sports, or winning in that science fair project, or whatever it is that you achieved as a child. Not necessarily for being happy, or for feeling good, or for feeling calm, or for feeling sad, or for expressing your anger. That's not rewarded. You're rewarded for the things that you do. And so when we become adults, and especially in this space, you're a human being, not a human doing. And it's like, well, I can't just undo this programming, right? I can't just undo this. And our whole world is really wrapped up in doing versus being. So it's kind of tricky to start to reprogram yourself when everything else on the outside is feeding you back something different. But when you recognize that even sometime in your childhood, if you could think back as far as you can to a time where you were just playing, you were just being a child. There was no pressure for you to achieve anything. There was no pressure for you to do anything. How did that feel? Probably felt good without you even receiving a certain reward. You naturally felt good. That was the reward. Your body naturally rewards you. When we cry, when we release, our body rewards us with feel-good endorphins. When we're doing things that make us feel happy or excited, we're automatically rewarded in our nervous system with more dopamine. When we're cuddling with someone that we love, or our pets or a partner or family members, our body rewards us with oxytocin. So that goes to show you right there how intelligent your body is. Your body is always rewarding you for your emotional presence. But when the mind has been conditioned, the mind will start to control the emotions and therefore start to control the nervous system, which is insane. Another way that programming can happen is through religious or cultural shame around rest, or joy, or pleasure, or desire, right? It was like, why are you resting? You're lazy. Or what are you so happy about? Or certain desires or pleasure that you have can be viewed as something that's sinful or shameful, or you shouldn't like these things, or these things are bad, right? That can naturally start to shut down your feeling of worthiness. If you're praised for overgiving, or overworking, or not having needs, that also teaches you to move into that state of unworthiness. If you've been through that conditioning that we spoke about earlier, that pleasure must be earned or justified. Why are you feeling good? You didn't do anything. You didn't earn that, right? Have you heard that before? And so if you've been through any of this conditioning or programming centered around your feeling of worthiness, let's just take a deep breath in and let it go. Okay? Because that's a lot to carry. That is a whole lot to carry. And some emotional symptoms around unworthiness could be feeling guilty for relaxing or enjoying yourself, shrinking when you receive praise or gifts or affection, numbing your desires before they even form. If you notice that you start wanting something and you immediately shut it down, it's like, no, what's the point? We're not going to even have it, right? I'm not worthy of it, right? I don't deserve it. I didn't work that hard for it. I didn't do anything that great to have it. And we start telling ourselves these things. That means we're in the state of unworthiness. Unworthiness starts to teach you to ask for less. But your sacral energy remembers the fullness you were born for. You were born for abundance. You were born for receiving. You were born to come into this world to have everything that you need. Even though that may not always be the case, it may not always happen, we may not always receive the things that we want in life or the things that we need, or maybe we didn't grow up in an abundant household, or maybe we grew up in a state of poverty, or maybe we grew up where we had to be in a state of survival. That was never the intention for you. And that can really put you into this state of feeling unworthy. And I want to add a little disclaimer because I feel like oftentimes in this space of self-help, of healing, of, spirituality or whatever, it's like, just feel worthy. It's like, okay, like, whoa, I'm trying. You almost start to feel ashamed for even feeling unworthy. It's like, well, I already felt unworthy. It just made me feel even worse because I feel unworthy. And that's never my intention here at all, ever. But a reminder of how beautifully worthy you truly are. And bringing awareness that you're designed for so much greater. And so if we've been in the space, learning to receive starts to become a skill that we have to learn. And so your sacral energy is the emotional and energetic receiver. Worthiness is your ability to say yes to good things, not because you earned them, but because you simply exist. I know that's really hard for a lot of people to hear, but know that it is the truth. When your sacral energy is open and balanced, you don't need to negotiate your needs, you honor them. So you don't say, should I drink this water today or should I type up this paper? No, your body is crying out for thirst. Your body needs to be hydrated. It needs water. Now, I know that a lot of times, that's a bit exaggerated, but that's still the same energy when we deny our needs. So all that we need to do is to start honoring them. If you're hungry, nourish your body. If you're thirsty, drink. If you are stagnant and sedentary, move. If you've been moving too much, let's stay still. Tuning back in with your body. Worthiness restores that flow. It says, I am safe to soften. I am safe to receive. So it starts to bring that energy flowing back towards you. And you'll start to notice how much abundance really truly is around you. And so when someone compliments you, just say thank you. Or if someone offers you help, pause and receive it without deflection. We're not saying like, oh no, thank you, I got it. No, I'm good. I got it. I don't need it. Or, well, thanks, but this whole thing, I don't know. I really didn't. Just thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I received that. So let's start rewiring this worthiness frequency. And I want you to start practicing some daily receiving. And you might be saying to yourself, how do I do that? How do I practice daily receiving? Does that mean I have to go around asking for stuff all day long? No, this means that we're receiving what is already here. What is already around you? The sun is already there. The sun is our biggest source of energy. So just sitting outside for a moment, let that sunlight hit your skin and allow for yourself to receive that vitamin D. It's already there. You don't have to ask. Just sit and receive. If you have loved ones around, being around their energy, allowing yourself to receive their own energy, their presence. You're not asking them for anything. You're just being around them. When you're drinking water, that's a natural energy of receiving. You're allowing it to hydrate your body. When you're eating food, receiving that flavor. Or when you're touching things, receiving that texture. If someone offers you help, again, receiving help without apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry you have to do this for me. Oh my goodness. I could think back to when this was a long time ago, I had gone on a date, and I recognized now here in this space of where I am today and talking about this worthiness frequency with you, that I really subconsciously and unconsciously, for whatever reason, whatever was in my belief system, was carrying a frequency of unworthiness. And I remember going to dinner or going to get something to eat, and I felt like, oh, I had some dietary restrictions, and it's like, oh, we got to go to this place, we got to go to that place. And I was like, oh, so sorry. Like, I don't want to be difficult. What? Like totally negating the person that I am in that moment, that person is wanting to receive just the energy of who I am as a person. And so this is just a natural energy of exchange. This is not something to apologize for. You know what I mean? And so that's just a little bit of an example of recognizing that unworthiness that we can carry about ourselves. And it comes up in different moments and different experiences. And sometimes we don't feel it. Sometimes we do feel it. It's oftentimes that we feel it in really new or different situations, even though we want it. You know, maybe you go to a place, maybe you go to a gala. You've never been to a gala before and you feel so out of place. But somewhere in that, you feel like, I don't belong here. And it could mean that you really don't want to be there. Maybe you don't like the people there. Or if it's really not your thing, it's not your style, that's totally fine. But let's say you actually do want to be there. That's a sign. You want to be in this space, but you don't feel really like you deserve to be there. Have you ever experienced something like that before? I remember it was a date. It wasn't my date, but I had gone to dinner and there was a girl that was there and she was in the bathroom crying. And, you know, I had gone to the bathroom. I wasn't following her or anything, guys. I'm not a creep. But I came out of the bathroom. I heard her crying in the stall and she was talking to her friends. And she's like, this place is so nice. I've never been to a place this nice and I don't know what to do. I don't want to go home. I'm so scared. He's so sweet. I don't know how to deal with this. I don't know. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to guys like this. And it was just like so sad because she just felt like this huge panic attack in that moment. And it was her frequency of unworthiness. And the guy was like, what did I do wrong? What is the problem? What did I do? You know, I really like this girl. I want to give her everything because I see her as someone that I really want to be with. And she's like rejecting it. And I don't understand what's going on. But we're so layered as people. We've gone through so many experiences and we've been taught unworthiness at some point in our lives if we're dealing with this space. And so that's why it's so important that you start small by allowing for yourself to have the things that you want. So we can dive into this topic on another day, maybe a whole series just on worthiness. I think is really important, but I think that is so important that we really do recognize that you're worthy. You're worthy of good experiences, especially when they're already provided for you, they're given to you, and then you reject it simply because you're in this frequency. Because that frequency of feeling unworthy and feeling worthy, they're not matching, right? They're not matching. So I think it can get really nasty. And I think when we're hearing about this, it doesn't feel so serious, but it can be very serious. To the point that, especially in relationships, When someone doesn't feel worthy, they almost do everything under the sun to either make the other person feel just as unworthy as them, because there becomes this power struggle, or they start sabotaging their relationships, or it just becomes a whole thing, and it can just get really, really rough. And I never want you to feel that way. We're going to work through this together. No worries. It takes time. But the more that you're gentle with yourself and the more that you allow yourself to feel good things in the world, the more that you will come to this space of your worthiness frequency. Okay? I want you to just remember that you receive because you are, because you exist. Pleasure is not a reward. It is your rhythm. And your emotions are worthy of care, not performance. And so your worth has never been up for negotiation. You don't have to earn sacredness. It is your origin. You came from a sacred space. You are created in divine sacredness. You are a sacred being. You just have to remember it, okay? All right, well, this concludes our episode on the worthiness codes of the sacral energy. Up next, we're going to explore the sensual code and how your 5 senses hold the key to emotional safety and flow. Thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the She Sacral podcast.